Amen. Today I want to tell you the story of how, when I lived in Las Vegas, I walked into this Buddhist temple with my head shaved. It was a temple just full of Chinese people. And I sat in the back and I said, "The Buddha is actually within each of us." I started saying all kinds of stuff like that. And I'll tell you how it went over and what happened and stuff. If I can find my flippin' headphones. Come here. Come here. Sorry. Okay. Testing. Oh, good. Hey, man, so what happened is me and my young family, we were living in Las Vegas at the time, and the beautiful person I married is of Chinese ancestry. She's from Singapore. Her family is Chinese, and we were living in kind of like a desert island type of thing as far as Chinese culture went. There just was not much Chinese culture at all. But I had been a missionary in Taiwan about 10 years previously, and we were expecting our first child, and we got to thinking, man, maybe there's like a Buddhist temple we can go to, and that way we can get kind of connected with the Chinese culture and language and stuff, and have some Chinese friends and that kind of thing. So somehow we found out about the Nevada Buddhist Association, and we went to their place, and this was even before they built their Chinese temple at Jones and Flamingo in Las Vegas. They had a house that they were using. I think they were living there, but for sure it was a temple. Just a regular looking house, and it looked like it was in a residential area to me. We walked in, and that place was just full of smoke, man. Oh, man. Lots and lots of smoke from burning all the incense and stuff. But the cool thing, this is what I'm going to do this video on. It's an appreciation video for those nuns at the Nevada Buddhist Association and how they stood with me and my young family through all seasons of our life, including what would happen a few years later when I would walk in with my head shaved. So I think it's a pretty common thing for the matriarch of the family, the caring type of person, to cook up like special soups and just nurture and kind of fuss over, I don't know if that's the right word, but to really take special care of the one that's pregnant by doing special cooking for them and all. And my dear wife's beautiful mom, she was living way over in Singapore. So we didn't have anybody to cook up special food for her or anything. So we walked into the temple. They found out she was pregnant, and they said, "Man, we're cooking up special soup for you." And they did, man. They threw in all these really cool herbal ingredients and all, and they prepared just a special pregnancy support type of soup. I think we had to come back maybe the next day to pick it up or something. But they were so good to our family, and then later they actually moved from that place to really close to the corner of Flamingo and Jones in Las Vegas on the west side of town. There's a place there called Pep Boys. Some of you might know where that is. It's like an auto repair type of place. And right next to that real close to it, to the south, was a former convenience store. I don't remember if it was 7-Eleven or a different type. But they had actually bought it and they converted it into a Buddhist temple. And they got it fixed up real nice. And through the years, man, we kept going to that place. I got to tell you, man, they had the best vegetarian buffet that you would ever want to eat in your whole life. And that particular group of Buddhists, they were vegetarian. I know there are other types of Buddhism where sometimes they may include meat and like that, like in Thailand and Laos and maybe Cambodia or someplace. But this one was called the Nevada Buddhist Association, the Lian Hwa Temple, and it was associated with Buddha Light Mountain in southern Taiwan. Fwo Kwang Shan, that's what they call it. And so that place, it was like a gathering point for me and my family and all our, so many of our Chinese friends and acquaintances and loved ones in that town. But I will say that back then there still wasn't a lot of Chinese culture. It's nothing like it is nowadays. Nowadays it's just so rich in Chinese culture. But back then, man, not much going on. And so we'd have our Tai Chi classes there. And my teacher at the time was from Hong Kong. His name was Alwyn Sit-Sun Leong. If you go to my About page on my website, PrestonFlatt.com, I'll turn this so you can see. See? Preston Flatt. If you go to my About page, you can see photos of my teacher and our Tai Chi association called the Las Vegas Wanto Tai Chi Association. But the nuns were pretty good-hearted. There were two of them for most of the time that I was there. And one... Yeah, they spoke Taiwanese and Cantonese and Mandarin mostly. And when we did our Tai Chi class, there's this one exercise where a student stands with their back to the wall. And the person who's practicing issuing energy, releasing energy forward, they'll push that student out, and the person will use the wall to land against, to kind of support them so they don't keep going and trip and fall on their head. So we were doing that exercise at the Buddhist temple, and one of the students got pushed so hard that their heel went right through the drywall. And that didn't go over too well. They were good to us, but we did decide, man, we gotta choose a different place. So we moved it from there to my friend's house, and then we hooked up this big old mattress and hung it in front of a wall, so that now when we pushed somebody into it, they'd hit the mattress and they'd spring back, So that was a lot more comfortable than hitting the wall. And then my kids both learned Mandarin there for maybe a year, something like that. They just got involved in the beginning Mandarin class. One time, I was getting out of the car in the parking lot in front of the thing, and this had never happened before in my whole life. But somehow the point of the door hit right onto my shoulder, and it was just about the most flippant, painful thing that I could imagine, or it was really painful. And then I walked into the buffet area, and there's a healthcare practitioner that's really into energy work and really profound healing methods. And he looked at me, he says, "There's something wrong with your shoulder, man." And I'm thinking, that guy, he either saw the door hit my shoulder, and then he just went in, and then he's pretending like he's got all these great powers of discernment. or else the guy really was just out of this world profound as far as even being able to know that. I was just blown away. Yeah. But that, oh man, that was amazing. But oh, that food at that Buddhist temple was so, so good. And I just want to tell you how thoroughly these beautiful nuns would support me and my family. Of course, I say they're nuns. They were the female Buddhist adherents, or whatever you call, dedicated nuns. They had their heads shaved, and they would come to my healthcare office, which I had in Las Vegas at the time, and they'd get treatments. And then there was an affiliated temple to the Lian Hwa in California. I think it was in the Los Angeles area. And when those visiting nuns came into town, those the local nuns would pile them into a van and bring them over to my office. So they were really trying to help my office and my family in that way also. And then, I mean, not only that, but I was saying they were with us through all seasons of our life. We went through this phase of wanting to become rich through network marketing. We'd run into one of my friends that our family knew in Singapore. He's a cool guy, but he was into this one kind of weird network marketing group, and it was one that sold water filters and air filters and stuff. We went to the meeting, and it was one of these, like, my eyes were bigger than my stomach type of thing. I was seeing all these people file up on stage holding checks saying, I've only been in the company 2 weeks. Look at this check. This stuff really, really works, I thought, and my beautiful wife, she really has good business sense, She was very enterprise minded, and so together we decided, man, we're going to do that. And they had this thing where you could buy in, and this may seem like a distraction, but it's not, because I'm going to bring it right back around to the Buddhist temple. But yeah, they had this thing where instead of just buying in a little bit at a time and getting a really low commission for each water filter or air filter that we sold, we could buy in at a higher level, and then with each one that we sold, we'd get a bigger commission, We thought, yeah, we're going to do it, so let's buy in at the high level. So we paid something like $5,000 or something. And we ended up with this garage full of the most crappy and stupid water and air filters that you've ever seen in your whole life, man. They were just terrible. But they had this way of selling them where they called it puppy dogging, where you take because the water filter was about this big, about the size of a small puppy dog, So you'd go door to door and you'd say something like, we got these water filters that we're just letting people try. Can we hook it up to your water for you and let you try it for a week, And then we'll come back later if you like it. If you don't like it, we'll just take it back. But if you do, it's way cheap, And that's how they sold them. So we thought, oh, that should be easy enough. So we got a whole flipping garage full of product. And then sure enough, man, like 2 weeks later, me and my wife were parading up to the front of the stage. Look at our check. We've only been in it like 2 weeks, But we actually, and I don't like the way that was structured, and that's why to this day I never ever do network marketing. Sometimes the products are quite good, but I just don't like it. But sure enough, man, we had bought that check. We had paid like $5,000 to get maybe a $2,000 check or something like that. That was so stupid. Oh, but now how this relates to the Buddhist temple is when my beautiful business-minded wife went to the Buddhist temple, she said, would you mind buying one of our filters, or maybe we'll place it here or something. And those people, good people that they are, they bought the filter, you know. And that they bought the air filter is what they did. And the air filter was just the crappiest thing you'd ever want to see in your whole life. The walls of it were like some kind of pressed cardboard or fiberboard that, I mean, I can just imagine that it would have had formaldehyde leaking out through it and stuff. Off-gassing or whatever you want to call it. But they bought it anyway, and it was just sitting in their place, man, just a piece of junk just sitting there. And it was, I mean, I've seen things laying on junk heaps that were better quality than those brand new air and water filters. But not only did they buy that, because they knew it would mean so much to me and my family, but they also invited all their Chinese people that were there. They said, Bai Yi Sheng, you know, 他的家庭有这个要给你们看，请进来, you know. So basically, come on in, because and see what, you know, see what this sales presentation's about. Oh, man. I know I'm kind of long-winded, so I'm going to make it shorter now, as if I can cut away that part that I just digressed on. I'm just trying to say, man, those people are always there for us, and I really do appreciate them. And now here's something very important. I found out that their temple burnt down, man. I was just browsing online for the Nevada Buddhist Association, and I saw this news report that said their temple burnt down, and I'm going to put it below in the link so you can see it. And I don't know what they're doing now, man. I don't know if they are going to rebuild the thing. The news report is several years old, but I know for a while they had a house next door to that temple, and I think they tried using that as a temporary Buddhist temple. But I don't know what they're doing now, and I don't even know if they're trying to rebuild it or anything. But those of you that are interested, you may want to just research that and see if there's any way that you can help them out. So maybe last time I visited was something like 10 years ago. I just popped in to say hi. And okay, I have to give you now the story of how I sat in the back of the temple with my head shaved. If you can imagine, these people, these beautiful nuns, they dedicated their whole life to this thing. If anybody knows Buddhism, it's them. And I've always been interested in spiritual studies and stuff, so I think I might have read something in a book or something. And I was in a transitioning time of my life, you know, so I just thought, I'm going to shave my head. So I did. I shaved it all off. I walked into the Buddhist temple, and I sat right in the back, exactly opposite the Buddha. I mean, in the back of the room, because they had the seats on one side, or kneeling places on one side, kneeling places on the other, and between the two, you'll understand the significance of this if you see my other videos on how to mystically surf or skateboard without a board. But between the two is the sweet spot, and that's exactly where the statue of the Buddha was, you know. But along the back wall, the wall had a solid bench all the way across. So, and there was even a place that a person could conceivably sit right in the smack dab middle of the room, directly facing that open aisle and the statue of the Buddha. And I sat there, I sat right in the middle, and then later I found out, oh man, you're not supposed to sit there. That's like a special place that, at least this is what I remember from it, that, yeah, you're not supposed to do that because that's like reserved for, the Buddha's, the Buddha's place. But I sat there with my head shaved and I said, the Buddha is within each of us. And these people that knew Buddhism from top to bottom, from inside to outside, that spent their whole life dedicated to it, they responded to me so charitably, like, he's not even a kindergartner yet, but let's don't mess with him. Let's let him think he's got it together and not laugh at him too much. But they didn't say that. They treated me really, really good. And it just meant a lot to me that not just then, but through my whole life, my whole association with them, through all those years from 1986 until I left around 1999, they were always there for me and my family. So I would like to make this video appreciation for the Nevada Buddhist Association, Fwo Kwang Shan, and the nuns at the Lian Hwa. I don't know if you have a new temple now or what, but I just want to say thank you very much for helping me and my family through the years. We love you. If you've ever been to that temple or had similar experiences, would you be so kind as to write them below and maybe subscribe? I would really appreciate it and like the video. All right, thank you. God bless.